the central incisor, lower central incisor may be possible. Sometimes may be different, but usually start with the lower central incisor. And within 2 months, you see we are coming to the deciduous molar. But after this age, there will be deciduous second molar and there will be deciduous canine. So after 10 weeks of integrated life, there will be appearance of animal organ. Evidence of classification, 5 months of integrated life. Eruption is at the age of 14 months after 1 year. The first tooth in the deciduous dentition starts to develop, starts to erupt at the age of 6 months. And then second deciduous, first central incisor lower, then central incisor upper, then lateral incisor lower. Actually, lateral incisor lower and central incisor upper is coming at the same time, then lateral incisor upper. Baden, the first deciduous molar, Baden, the second deciduous, Baden the canine, the second, D, C, E. So first deciduous molar, Baden canine, Baden the second deciduous molar. Anyway, general characteristics, it is much smaller than the second molar in all aspects. Okay, the first deciduous molar and the second deciduous molar, if you compare, you will find the second deciduous molar is actually looking like the permanent first molar. The second deciduous molar and permanent first molar are actually, they are neighbor, right? Because the second deciduous molar is erupting at the age of, for example, 16 months and staying in the mouth at the age of 11 years until it is replaced by the premolar. And first permanent molar is coming into the mouth at the age of 6 years. So for about 5 to 6 years, they remain as neighbor. They are very close neighbor and they look alike. They are looking to same to each other. But in comparison to the first molar, in comparison to the second deciduous molar, the deciduous first molar is very small. It looks like a premolar. If we classify the tooth, deciduous tooth, and we keep a part for premolar, then definitely we'll tell that the maxillary first deciduous molar is actually a premolar. The shape and size is like this. Its relative shape and size suggests that it was designed to be the premolar section of the primary dentition. In function, it acts as a compromise between the size and shape of the primary anterior and the molar, because it doesn't have a big surface for mastication and it is not an anterior teeth, so it is a transitional teeth between the anterior and the posterior. So this is one unique point for the maxillary deciduous first molar. It is the predecessor for the maxillary first premolar. Who will replace it? The maxillary first premolar will replace it, and it looks like a premolar. So it is so different from the permanent maxillary first molar, yet it is more closely resembles the maxillary first premolar. It looks like a premolar. But when you find that there is 3 roots, there is 4 cusps, it is not a premolar, but occlusal surface is very narrow, with a tapering on the linguals, one side, lingual convergence is too great. Altogether, it looks like premolar. This tooth may be of 2 types. One is 4 cusp type, one is 3 cusp type. If there is 4 cusp type, 2 buccal, 2 lingual cusp. If there is 3 cusp type, then 2 buccal, 1 lingual cusp. Okay. The buccal aspect is trapezoid. The border of the occlusal surface is scalloped. Scalloped means with wavy appearance, with no definite cusp ridge form. There is no definite cusp ridge form. It is just wavy and scalloped. There is a large mesobuccal cusp and a small distobuccal cusp. The mesobuccal cusp is very large. You see the red one, and distobuccal cusp is very small among the 2 buccal cusps. Cervical line is convex towards the root with the crest of curvature present mesially outline, mesially to outline. The most bulging part of the cervical ridge. You see here, the cervical ridge is upwards towards the root in the mesial side. Mesobuccal root cusp is here, is mesial side, and this area under the mesial cusp, this area is very bulged area. Bulge means big elevation is present here on one side, on the mesial side. On the buccal surface, the mesiobuccal area, especially in the cervical area, is very bumpy, very big elevated area, this area. There is marked convergence of the crown cervical here, like all the tooth, there is cervical convergence, but the cervical convergence is much more bigger in this tooth, like the premolars. There is no buccal groove on the buccal surfaces, but a small notch is present. Usually, for permanent dentition, we find there is a small developmental groove between the mesiobuccal and distobuccal cusp, or mesiolingual or distolingual cusp. But here, in the deciduous tooth, we don't find any groove, but there is a notch, small depression. Notch means a small depression is present in between the two roots, cusp. Three roots are present: mesiobuccal, distobuccal, and lingual, as usual, like the molar. That is why it is classified as molar. If the root are not like that, it is not classified as molar. So this is molar, but they are very thin and widespread. Why widespread? Because all the deciduous tooth are wide, roots are widespread to accommodate the tooth gel within it. The furcation is close to the cervical line, so there is almost no neck or what you say? This is because in deciduous tooth the neck is very small. The distal root is considerably shorter than the mesial. So if you compare the mesial root and distal root, then you will find that the mesial root is bigger and distal root is much more shorter. The crown, lingual aspect, the crown is narrower due to the lingual convergency and its surface is very convex, very highly convergent. You see, you see this area is very big and lingually pressed area, and very big convergence is present in this lingual side. In the four cusp type, the distal lingual cusp is poorly defined. If there is four cusp, even mesiolingual and the distal lingual cusp is very small. The lingual root is the largest of all of them. The lingual root is the longer, larger, and very fat, well built. If you go to the mesial aspect, outline form is trapezoid with the shortest of the uneven side present occlusally. Occlusally, the occlusal table is small. The buccal cusp are closer to the lingual cusp. It marks occlusal convergence. The buccal outline of the crown is very convex, cervically representing the prominent mesiobuccal cervical ridge. Then it becomes straight from the ridge to the occlusion mark. You see, this is because this is the mesial aspect. The mesial side is very bulging on the cervical area, so it looks very convex in the cervical mark. But then becomes straight. But if you see from the distal side, you will see the normal convexity of the cervical ridge. But from the mesial side, too much convex because there is a bulging on the cervical ridge on the mesial surface, the mesial side. Lingual outline is more gradually convex in the cervical and middle third and straight in the occlusal third, like the maximum convexity in the middle of the middle third. Cervically convexing and finally coming to the middle and then going straight. Occlusal outline, the mesiolingual cusp is sharper than the mesiobuccal cusp. In the maxillary, from the mesial side, if you see the mesiolingual cusp are sharper than the mesiobuccal cusp, and the mesial marginal ridge is nearly as wide buccolingually as the cusp. So the ridge is starting from the cusp ridge and going straight. You know, mesial marginal ridge is actually the outer boundary of the proximal side. So the boundary starts as soon as the cusp tip and going to another cusp tip and having a big ridge on the mesial side. Cervical line is shown some curvature occlusally. Very small curvature is present here, occlusally convex to the crown. Roots, the mesiobuccal root is just sufficiently wide to hide the distobuccal root. You know, it's mesiobuccal root. In case of maxillary permanent first molar, we saw that the mesiobuccal root covers the two-third of the neck area. So here is almost same, very big, and the distal root is under the mesial root. Mesiobuccal root is sufficiently wide to hide the distal root. Distal aspect, the crown is narrower and shorter on the distal side than on the mesial side. Why? Because we have distal lingual convergence in all tooth. In all tooth, even in the deciduous tooth, the mesial side is bigger than the distal side, or distal side is smaller than the mesial side. The distal marginal ridge is more cervically oriented. Okay, the distal marginal ridge is a little bit down, so you can see the whole of the occlusal surface from the distal side. The forecusp type, the distal lingual cusp is poorly developed and shorter than the distobuccal cusp. All three roots are seen from this aspect, but the distobuccal root is superimposed on the mesiobuccal. You can see the lingual root, you can see the distobuccal root, you can see the mesiobuccal root. Actually, the distobuccal root is superimposed on the mesiobuccal root. You can see the sides of the mesiobuccal root from this side also. So distal side, from distal side, you can see all the three roots. This is true for the permanent root also. Or from the distal side, you can see all the roots. Occlusal aspect, you see the occlusal aspect. The occlusal outline is rectangular. Yeah, this is rectangular. The buccal side is longer than the lingual side because there is lingual convergence. Mesial side is broader than the distal side because there is distal convergence also. In the forecusp variety, there are two large cusps, mesiobuccal and mesiolingual, and two very small cusps, distobuccal and distolingual. But this is the picture of a three-cusp variety. Three-cusp variety, the lingual cusp is big, a single cusp on the lingual side. A large mesiobuccal cusp, indistinct distobuccal cusp, and a large lingual cusp are present. Sometimes an oblique ridge connects the mesiolingual and the distobuccal cusp on the forecusp type molar. It is not mandatory that oblique ridge will be present in case of deciduous first molar, but if present, sometimes they are present, then they are as same as the permanent tooth, the mesiolingual cusp and distobuccal cusp are connected. The transverse ridge of the mesiolingual cusp and distobuccal cusp are running together. So this is an oblique ridge may be present. Here you see buccal surface, lingual surface, mesial surface, distal surface, and this is the occlusal surface. Actually, I'm not sure. Maybe this should be the distal surface, this should be the mesial surface. Mesial surface covering the distal root, and here distal surface showing the mesial root also. Anyway, maxillary second molar. Chronology. Appearance of enamel organ is 9th week of intrauterine life. First evidence of calcification 6 months of intrauterine life, because it is coming later than the first molar, right? Eruption is about 2 years, 24 months. Root completed takes another 1 year, so 3 years. Beginning of resorption is 7 years, shading is 10 years. This is also important when it shades, when the deciduous, when the permanent premolar will come. General characteristics, we told you that it greatly resembles the permanent maxillary first molar. This one and maxillary permanent first molar looks alike. Maxillary permanent first molar, how many cusps they have? 4 functional cusps and 1 cusp of calavery. This tooth has almost same. Maxillary first molar has developmental groove between the buccal cusps, mesiobuccal and distobuccal. It has a groove. Lingual side, mesiolingual and distolingual side, there is a groove. It has a groove also. So the differences between these two teeth are general differences that mentioned before between the palmar and deciduous posterior. Size is small, it is opaque white, the cervical area is very constricted, looks like a bulging area on the cervical area due to the bulging end of the enamel, abrupt end of the enamel. These are the differences between these two teeth. Otherwise, they look alike. This is the permanent tooth. This is the deciduous tooth. You see here, the groove, developmental groove is here, and the developmental groove is also present here. Mesiobuccal and the distobuccal root and this is mesobuccal and distobuccal root. And this is lingual, this is lingual. You can see all the concepts here. You see 5 surfaces: buccal, lingual, mesial, distal, and occlusal surface. Buccal aspect. The mesiobuccal and the distobuccal cusp are more defined than the upper D. Okay. So here the mesiobuccal cusp and distobuccal cusp are nicely seen than the first deciduous molar. Second deciduous molar is looking like the permanent first molar. The two cusps are almost equal in size and are separated by clear buccal development. You see here, clear buccal development is present. The crown is greatly constricted at the cervix. This is the characteristics of the deciduous tooth. The cervical area is very narrow, and crown looks like a bulging area on the tooth. The cervical ridge is still pronounced as a cervical third, but it is less developed than the D. The cervical ridge is pronounced, but not like the D. D on the mesial side, there is a big elevation, but here there is no big elevation. This is looking like a normal cervical ridge, little bit prominent. The 3 roots are visible from this aspect. You see the lingual root, the mesiobuccal root, and the distobuccal root. The 2 buccal roots are widely divergent. The mesiobuccal root is longer than the distobuccal. This is the mesiobuccal is longer than the distobuccal. They are slender and longer than that found in the D. In the D, they are if you compare the D and the D, they are very thinner and long in comparison to the roots of the maxillary first deciduous molar. Also, the trifurcation of the root is closer to the cervical line. This is the trifurcation area. It's closer to the cervical line. So neck is very small. The lingual aspect. The lingual surface has 3 cusps. The mesiolingual cusp, which is the largest one, the distolingual cusp, that is the less developed one, and the cusp of Caravelli is present here. So actually, there are 2 big cusps, functional cusp and cusp of Caravelli is present. Among these 2 cusps, the mesiolingual cusp is the largest one, as like as the permanent first molar, and the distolingual cusp is less developed. The lingual surface has clear lingual developmental groove and the groove of cusp of Caravelli. Okay, this is the developmental groove present between the lingual cusp, and this is the cusp of Caravelli. There is at least one elevation to show the place of the cusp of Caravelli. The 3 roots are visible from this aspect. The palatal root is the largest one. This is the palatal root, and on the both sides, the mesiobuccal and distobuccal roots are seen. Mesial aspect, you see the mesial side. The buccolingual width is greater than the at the cervix than from the occlusal due to the permanent cervical ridge and constricted occlusal ridge. You see here, because buccal ridge is present here, because lingual there is the bulging area, so abruptly ending of the neck. So this area is bigger than the occlusal table, and also bigger than the neck. The mesiolingual cusp is larger than the mesiobuccal one. The mesiobuccal and palatal roots are visible from this aspect. You see the mesiobuccal cusp is bigger than the mesiolingual cusp. The mesiobuccal root is wider than the palatal root. Of course, the mesiobuccal root takes about the 2/3 of the whole area. The palatal root is highly tilted lingually, then it curves buccally at the apical third. This is known as banana shape. Going first on the palatal side, then going to the buccal side. So this is banana shaped root. The distal aspect, the tooth is converged distally. Distal convergency, lingual convergence. So parts of the mesiobuccal and distobuccal are also visible from this side. The distobuccal and the distolingual cusp are at the same level. Okay. Distobuccal and distolingual are the same level. The distobuccal root is shorter and narrower and superimposed on the mesiobuccal root. The distobuccal root is short and narrow and superimposed on the mesiobuccal. Mesiobuccal can be seen from behind. Occlusal aspect, you see the occlusal aspect is almost like the permanent first molar. How? You see the cervical ridge is here, one big major fossa, 2 minor fossa is present. Okay. It is rhomboid in outline. The mesiolingual cusp is largest and the distal cusp is smallest. This is the mesiolingual, mesiobuccal, distobuccal, distolingual. The same serial they are made. Okay. The mesial marginal ridge is well developed and distal one. So the mesial marginal ridge, is well developed. There are three fossa on the fossa surface. Each of them have developmental feet in its bottom. There is developmental feet. The central group extends from the central feet to the mesial and distal feet. The central group, they are connected with the distal feet and mesial feet. Actually, these are mesial, distal triangular fossa, mesial triangular fossa. I'm sorry, mesial triangular fossa and distal triangular fossa. The buccal and lingual grooves extend from the central feet between the two buccal and two lingual cusps respectively, and they do not cross onto the buccal and lingual. Here, this is the thing. Buccal and lingual groove, buccal groove and lingual groove extend from the central feet between the two buccal and lingual cusps respectively, and they do not cross onto the buccal and lingual surface. They do not cross over here. But there is, of course, buccal developmental group present and lingual developmental group present. Buccal and lingual is present on the surface, but this is not connected with each other. Supplemental groups extend from the fossa towards the fossa. There are many supplemental groups. One, two, another one here. Supplemental groups are present. Okay, this is about the maxillary deciduous molars. So one, the maxillary first molar is looking like a premolar with a deep bulging on the cervical area and on the buccal surface. There is in the cervical region. On the mesial side, there is a big bulging area. It may be having 4 cusps, maybe having 3 cusps. If 3 cusps, there is 1 cusp in the lingual, 2 cusps on the buccally. If 4 cusps, 2 cusps on the buccal side, 2 cusps on the lingual side. 3 root and like this, bearing root and neck is constricted. Okay. All these are present in the deciduous first molar. Deciduous second molar is looking like the permanent first molar. This is 4 cusp with cusp of Caravelle is present. There is buccal developmental group, there is lingual developmental group. The mesiolingual cusp is the biggest one, and the mesiobuccal and the distobuccal is the smallest one. And 3 fossa, 1 central fossa, 2 minor fossa, mesial triangular fossa and distal triangular fossa. So, did you get the thing in your mind? Okay.
Okay.
Now, mandibular first molar. See, mandibular first molar appearance of an enamel organ is 8th week of individual life. First evidence of calcification 5 months, eruption 12 months, root completion 2.5 years, beginning of preservation shedding is 9 years. Because the lower premolar is coming at the age of 9 years. Okay, and upper premolars are coming at the age of 10 years, 10 and 11, 9 and 10, 10 and 11. Lower first premolar 9, second premolar 10. Upper first premolar 10, second premolar 11, like this. This is in general rule. This tooth does not resemble any other tooth, deciduous or permanent. Look, this slide is very important. Just with this word or sentences, I will put one question in the final exam. Yes, this tooth does not resemble any other tooth, deciduous or permanent. This is written in the Wheeler books of morphology. Because it varies so much from all others, it appears strange and primitive. The deciduous first molar, mandibular. Deciduous mandibular first molar. It looks like primitive. If we tell you in advance, the deciduous mandibular second molar is also looking like the permanent first mandibular. So, if you keep in your mind, in a nutshell, as a gist, deciduous maxillary first molar looking like a premolar. Deciduous maxillary second molar looking like the permanent maxillary molar. Deciduous mandibular first molar is a unique tooth. It does not look like any other tooth. Deciduous mandibular second molar is looking like the permanent first mandibular molar. Okay, the second molars are looking like their neighbors, the permanent molars. But the first molars, maxillary first molar is a variation of premolar. Mandibular first molar is a unique tooth which does not match to any other tooth. Clear? Keep this information in your mind. You will never forget the answer. Cusp. The cervical line is nearly straight. The lingual surface is narrower than the buccal due to the lingual convergence as usual. The roots are narrower lingually. Roots are very narrow. They are wider buccal lingual. The lingual side, this is narrower than the buccal side. Mesial aspect, you see the mesial aspect, the root are very bigger. Outline is rhomboid. This outline is rhomboid. Because you know the lower molars are from the proximal side, they are unique, they are rhomboid, permanent molars also. Because why? They have lingual inclination. That is the reason. Buccal outline, you see the buccal outline, the cervical area is very convex, extremely convex, the cervical third, then the rest is prominent mesobuccal cervically. Due to prominent mesobuccal cervically, the visual aspect is very bulging. Then the buccal outline becomes straight till the tip of the mesobuccal cusp. So very convex, then straight. The buccal outline of the crown is longer than the lingual. Of course, this is the buccal outline you see from here to here. The lingually, it is here, from here to here. The lingual outline is convex with the maximum convexity present in the middle part. It extends lingually beyond the outline of the root. You see here. This is the root, and this is the maximum convexity height of contour on the lingual side is beyond the root line, outside of the root boundary. The occlusal table is a small buccal lingual. You see here, the buccal cusp are near to the lingual cusp. The occlusal table is very small. Both the mesiobuccal and the mesiolingual cusp are seen from this aspect as is the well-developed mesial marginal ridge. Okay, here. Mesiobuccal and mesiolingual cusp are seen from this aspect as this is well-developed mesial marginal ridge. The cervical line is convex towards the occlusal. It slants occlusally from buccal to lingual. See here, because the lingual side is small, so it goes up to the lingual side. The root, the mesial root outlines are straight from the neck till the apical third, then it tapers to the end, a flat and broad apex. Here, straight, but then tapering, straight, but then tapering, and they are coming here, but there is a big depression on the mesial side of the root. The root has a depression on the most of its length. Distal aspect, the crown has almost equal length, you see here. The crown has an almost equal length buccally and lingually. Here, buccally and lingually almost equal length. The distobuccal and distolingual cusp are shorter than the mesial cusp. The distal marginal ridge is short, buccolingually is less prominent than the mesial marginal ridge and located more cervically. So more of the occlusal surface is seen to the distal side. You see, distal side, we can see all the cusp and all the surface of the occlusal area. The cervical line is almost straight. The distal root is narrower and shorter than the mesial root. You see here the mesial root. The distal root is superimposed on the mesial root. It looks like this. Outline is rhomboid, occlusal aspect. You see the occlusal aspect, outline is rhomboid. You see here, this is rhomboid, and this is the bulging area on the mesial side. The crown is much wider mesiodistal than the buccolingual because this is the common formation, common general characteristic for the mandibular molar. That the mesiodistal dimension will be bigger than the buccolingual dimension. The mesiobuccal angle is acute and prominent. This mesiobuccal angle is acute and prominent because of the mesiobuccal cervical ridge on the buccal surface. The distobuccal angle is obtuse. This is obtuse. This is acute. Why? Because it's very narrow in this area. The mesiolingual cusp is pointed and angled in on the occlusal table. Mesial and distal marginal ridges are well developed. The mesial and distal marginal ridges are well developed. The mesial marginal ridge is more prominent than the distal marginal ridge. The mesial marginal ridge is more prominent than the distal marginal ridge, but both are well developed. Okay. The mesolingual cusp is pointed and angled on the occlusal table. Marginal ridge. The occlusal anatomy is shallow. Of course, for all deciduous tooth, the occlusal anatomy is shallow. The fossas are shallow, grooves are shallow, everything is shallow. Cusp are in low height. There is no central fossa. There is a short buccal groove and a short lingual groove extending from the central peak. This is central peak. Two grooves here. Yeah, see? Lingual groove, buccal groove, and lingual groove. Okay, so we know about the mandibular deciduous first molar. This deciduous first molar is a unique tooth. It doesn't resemble to any other tooth. There is a big bulging on the mesial side in the cervical 1/3. It has, of course, 4 cusps. The mesolingual cusp is bigger. Okay, these are the features for the deciduous first molar. Mandibular second molar is just the copy of the mandibular permanent first molar. Appearance phenomenon is 9th week of infant life. First evidence of classification 6 months of infant life. Eruption is 21. Root completed 3 years. Beginning of resorption is 7 years, and shedding is about 10 years. So it has 5 surfaces: buccal, lingual, mesial, distal, and occlusal. The deciduous mandibular second molar is larger than the first one, but it is smaller. It is smaller than the permanent mandibular first molar. Here you see, if you see this area, the occlusal developmental groove pattern is zigzag, like the first mandibular permanent molar. Second permanent mandibular molar is a cross shape, right? The first molar is zigzag. So here you see the pattern is almost zigzag. And they have also 5 cusps. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cusps. The mandibular permanent first molar also has 5 cusps. You see, the deciduous mandibular second molar is larger than the first one. If you compare the first deciduous and second deciduous is larger. Similarly, like the maxillary molars, but it is smaller than the permanent mandibular first molar. Definitely, permanent mandibular first molar is much more bigger. It resembles the permanent mandibular first molar in many ways, such as the outline form, the number of cusps, the number of roots is the same. 2 roots, 5 cusps, and outline form, 3 buccal cusps, 2 lingual cusps. All the elevations and depressions that are present, the permanent mandibular first molar are present in this same elevation depression. Okay, but the only one thing that the first permanent molar we have mesiobuccal, distobuccal cusp, and distal cusp on the buccal side. But in case of deciduous tooth, mesiobuccal, then distobuccal and disto, I think mesiobuccal, distobuccal, and distal middle is different. However, there are many differences that enables us to differentiate between these two teeth, such as one is the general differences between the permanent and the mesiobuccal, buccal, distobuccal. You see, the sequence is different and size is equal. So, what is the main difference between the deciduous second molar and permanent first molar? Among the 5 cusps, 3 buccal cusps are equal in size in deciduous molar, and they are named as mesiobuccal, buccal, and distobuccal cusp, whereas in the permanent first molar, it is mesiobuccal, distobuccal, and distal. It is reported that the first permanent molar is sometimes mistaken for this tooth and is not restored when decay, on the assumption that it will soon be shed and replaced by another tooth. Many times it happens that the deciduous second molar is extracted, the first permanent molar is there, and first permanent molar is coming little bit front due to early extraction of the deciduous tooth, second molar, and there is early caries also, because this is the first tooth coming into the permanent dentition. Among the permanent, this is the first tooth coming into the mouth. The patient is 6 years age when this tooth is present, 7 years, 8 years. Due to negligence, there will be caries. And what happened? The dentist sometimes is misled. He is thinking, oh, this may be a deciduous tooth, so it will be replaced, no need for any treatment. and this is neglected. This happens, and when finally it is ready for treatment, already tooth is decayed. So there may be a different mistaken happens. Why? Because number one, the second deciduous molar and the first permanent molar looking like same, though size is different, but there is many cases that the second deciduous molar is early extracted and the first permanent molar is coming little bit mesially in the place of deciduous molar, so it misleads the dentist to preserve this tooth. So it was about this lecture. There are some questions here. For example, this is a tooth with three cusps: mesiobuccal cusp, distobuccal cusp, and lingual cusp. Three cusp variety of the maxillary first molar deciduous variety. This is three root buccal surface of the upper D. This is, you see, the buccal surface of the D. This is the bulging area on the mesial surface on the buccal side. Buccal surface of the E, because E, you see, the E, you will find a groove. Four cusp. The mesiolingual cusp is the biggest, mesiobuccal cusp, distobuccal cusp, distolingual cusp is the smallest one. So this is the lingual side of the B. This is lower molar. Lower molar, you see, the buccal side is having three cusps: mesiobuccal cusp, buccal cusp, distobuccal cusp, two root, and groove between the two cusps. This is the mesiobuccal developmental groove. Distobuccal developmental groove is very faint or like a notch, but this groove is evident. Buccal surface of lower E. This is, I think, distal surface, because distal surface is smaller. Mesial surface of the upper D. This is the occlusal surface of the lower E. Distal surface of the upper D. This is the, I think, mesial surface of the lower E. Mesial surface of the lower D. Sorry. No, this should be E, not D. I'm sorry, there is a mistake here. I'll change it. What is this? This is the occlusal surface of the lower E. You see the very big bulging area here. D. So this was about the deciduous molars. If you have any question, you can ask me, please. Guys?
Mandibular teeth, the roots are two.
What? Yeah, mandibular teeth, the roots are two, of course, of course. Mandibular two root, maxillary three root.
Yes.
Everybody was present today? Nobody absent? Okay. Anyway, any other question?
No, thank you, doctor.
Okay, inshallah. Thank you very much.